I am Sister Kulandai. I will be teaching English for class 8. Today, let us learn the first chapter. The name of the chapter is The Best Christmas Present in the World, written by Michael Morpurgo. Now let us see the introduction about the author. Michael Morpurgo was born on October 5th, 1943. He is an English author, poet, playwright, and etc. He is best known for children's novels such as War Horse. His writing career was inspired by Ted Hutchins, who was his friend, mentor, and neighbor. He became the third British laureate from 2003 to 2005. In this chapter, there are 3 parts. Now let us see the first part. The author noticed a roll-top desk in a junk shop in Bridport. Bridport is in England. It was early 19th century, origin in oak. One leg of the desk was badly mended. Mended means here broken. Burn marks were all over, but the author decided to buy it as it was cheap, and he thought of repairing it himself and set out to do so on Christmas Eve. Now, here the author is noticing a junk shop in Bridport, and then he wanted to purchase the roll-top desk. Though the desk was very badly broken and there were all over burn marks, but even then he wanted to buy. Why he wanted to buy? Because it was very cheap. So he wanted to buy and repair it by himself. And then he wanted to do so when? On Christmas Eve. He removed the roll top and tried to pull out the drawers, one of which had damage. Finally, he pulled out the last drawer and found the secret drawer, and there was a small black tin box. There was a note paper written on the box, Jim's last letter received on January 25th in 1915. So, as the author had brought this roll-top desk to his home, and then he was trying to pull out each and every drawer in the desk, and then one drawer was very badly damaged. When he was pulling out this damaged drawer, and then he saw a secret drawer underneath the drawer, and then he found a small black tin box in it, and then he found a note paper written on the box. That was Jim's last letter received on January 25th, 1915. The writer had wished the letter to be buried with her. Means the writer wrote this letter, only the particular person need to read, not the other person. So need to be buried with her alone. The author had the curiosity to open the box and see what is the matter inside the letter. Now when we see something new, something is very interesting, we need to see that what is happening or what is there inside that thing. The same way here, the author is having the curiosity. As he found the black tin box, he wanted to open the box and see what is the matter inside the letter. It had an envelope with the address. So there was an address. Whose address? Mrs. Jim Macpherson, 12 Copper Beaches, Bridport, Dorset. The letter was dated on December 26, 1914. So there was in that box there was a letter, and in that letter there was an address, that is of Mrs. Jim Macpherson, and this is the address of their house. So with this information, the first part ends here. Let us see the part 2. As the author was seeing that letter and then the date and the address, now we will see the letter is written to whom and for whom. The letter had been written by Jim to his wife Connie Macpherson. So the letter was written by the author to his own wife Connie. He was the captain of the English troops set against the Germans during the First World War. So this letter was being written on Christmas Eve, and then it was written during the First World War. In this letter, he was narrating about the Christmas celebration that he had with his opposite party, the Germans. Now, in this letter, he is writing all about the Christmas celebration that he had with the German soldiers. It was a Christmas morning, cold and frosty. Jim saw a German soldier waving the white flag to wish the English troops happy Christmas. So, while the author, Jim, was coming out and then he was seeing a German soldier waving the white flag, and then he wanted to wish the English soldiers happy Christmas. In the beginning, the captain, who is the captain? Jim thought to trap the English troops the German soldiers are doing, but it was not so. The German leader and Jim, the captain of English troops, were talking positively that if we go on fight and kill each other, our children and wives will become orphans and widows. Now here what the German leader is trying to tell to Jim, the captain of the English troops. Now, both of them are having a positive way of talking. Why at all we need to fight in a war and kill each other? If we are killed and our children and wives will become orphans and widows. So, let us not fight. No more, let us have this war and kill each other. Instead of war, we can conduct a games for two groups and no one will die in the games. Now, the German leader is giving suggestion that instead of conducting a war, we can conduct a game for both parties, and then we will not die in the game, but one person will win and the another person will lose in the game. So, this will be good thing for us to live our life happily with our children and wives. Now, Jim was cherishing the experiences on the day of Christmas with the Germans during the First World War time. He could never imagine or celebrate Christmas like this in life ever. So, this was the most important celebration that Jim had in his life, and this same celebration will never come back in his life. That's what he is trying to tell us. The celebration came to an end and both groups went back to their trenches, means to their own places or tents. They returned back after the Christmas celebration. Jim wrote that it was a time of peace and goodwill, a time that he would treasure for the rest of his life. They believed that after the war they will return to their families. So, after the World War I, the Jim and then the German leader, they thought they will return back home happily. And then this time was, the Christmas time was very, very peaceful and goodwill. So, it was one of the best experience in his life that he had. So, with this, the second part ends with this thought and information. Now, let us see the part 3. The author put the letter back into the envelope and decided to meet Mrs. Connie Macpherson. So, as he read Jim's letter, which was written to his wife, now after reading the letter fully, now he is putting the letter back into the envelope, and then he decided to meet whom? Mrs. Connie Macpherson. Mrs. Jim, he decided to meet. She was not in the old house because her house caught fire and she moved to the other side of the town. She was saved from that danger. She was now 101 years old, sitting in the wheelchair and suffering from memory loss. So, Jim's wife, now she is in her 101 years old. Now what happened? Once there was fire in her house, so she has to change her house. So she went to the other side of the town and then she was saved from this danger. So as she is now very old, as she is expecting her husband Jim will return back one day on Christmas Eve, but he never returned back. So she is sitting in the wheelchair and suffering from memory loss. She has forgotten everything, all the past that had happened. Even she has forgotten the people whomever she knew, including her own husband. The author wished her happy Christmas and gave the letter to her. Now author came to meet her. Finally he met Mrs. Jim and then she wished her happy Christmas and gave the letter to her. She recognized her husband's letter and misunderstood the author as her husband Jim. As already she is having the memory loss, she doesn't know that the author, but she misunderstood that the author is her own husband Jim. So she kissed him on his cheek and asked him to read the letter because she wanted to hear Jim's voice. So after long years, she is thinking that her husband has returned back to celebrate this Christmas, and then what did she do? She kissed whom? She kissed the author, thinking that it is Jim, and then asked him to read the letter because she wanted to hear the voice of her own husband. Mrs. Connie said at the end of the story, Jim was the best Christmas present to her in the world. So she is thinking that really Jim had come back and then to see her, to wish her happy Christmas and to be with her, but it was not so. But she misunderstood because of her memory loss. But she is thinking happily that Jim was the best Christmas present to her in the world. So with this thought, the story ends here. I hope you all will understand this story. Very simple and very interesting stories about the soldier Jim and his wife. So I hope it will be very useful for you, and then you also need to cherish the moments, the good moments and the happiness which you had, or any celebration in your life you had, and then you think about it. Who or what is the best thing for you who presented, and what is most important or most important gift for you in the world? You can reflect upon that. Okay, students. So thank you. Study and then listen and understand this lesson properly. Okay, students. Thank you.